Hello and welcome back to another episode in the Running in Circles podcast. This is episode 6, so we're halfway done through the season. And today what we're going to talk about is an important subject. It's a subject that's not talked about often, and it's a subject that is, a little difficult to speak on. So for this episode, I have two of my friends who I met from BITS, and guest number one is Nirmit here.
I love it's what my third time.
Yeah,
Fourth or fifth,
third
I don't
season.
remember.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And appearing for the first time in season 3, we have Shruti.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pallav. So, hi, I'm Shruti, and I've gone to BITS with Pallav. And yeah, I stay in Bangalore and I work as a product marketer. So, yeah, that's a bit about me.
Yes, nice of you to plug in your resume there.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, just in
Can help.
case any recruiter is listening, you know who to contact now. So, anyways, then let's get started with the episode. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about, relationship with parents and, how essentially that is like everybody has like a difficult or like a not so easy, not a straightforward relationship with parents, and navigating that as a child, as a teen, as now almost as a fully grown up adult. So to talk about this, my first question would be, what was your upbringing like? Starting with you, Nirmit.
Again, in a nutshell, I think I was quite privileged. My upbringing was great. I mean, I had a great childhood, so I can't really complain about much. With respect to my parents, I am the first child, and I have a younger sister. So just in that context, I think I was probably the experimental child. Uh, No, really, it's not funny. I think it's quite.
No, the way you mentioned is experimental child. Okay.
No, really. So I think whatever. Now, I mean, I see the difference with how they just brought me up and treated me versus now. My sister's childhood is like, and it's obviously very different. Not that one's right and one's wrong.
Yeah.
They were also first-time parents. So in a way, my childhood was great, and I would say even my sister's childhood is going great. So I didn't have nothing to complain about, but yeah, I do think that a lot of the brunt of their inexperience, or
Yeah.
even they were trying to figure out being first time parents.
Yeah,
So I
like
think
you
all of
face
that
certain
was
difficulties which your sister
I
didn't
wouldn't
face.
say difficulties, but so again I have no reason to complain, but I wouldn't say difficulties. But I think whenever they were trying to experiment with it as first time parents, I had to sort of bear the brunt, which is, I mean, not my fault or theirs.
Yeah,
It just so happens that my sister came after me. Otherwise, she would be the
Yeah.
one to bear the.
correct.
That's it. Yeah, but yeah, I think great childhood in general. Yeah.
What about you, Shruti?
So for me, it's a bit different. So I've had really strict parents growing up, or
Yeah.
actually, to be honest, parent. My mom is the strict one, and my dad's pretty cool. So, I cannot pinpoint saying when did they start being strict, but my mom comes from a small place back in Andhra Pradesh, and we were growing up in a metropolitan city like Bangalore, which is very different from where she's been brought up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think a lot of her notions kind of stem from my native place and the way, like, my grandmom used to go to work all the time. So my grandmom's mom used to take care of my mom. So I think the generation she's grown up with is 2 generations older or 3 generations older than what we are today. So
got it.
I think she carries a lot of that with her.
Those values.
Those values or those stereotypes or those patriarchal, strong roots. It's very rooted in her. So for me, it was a constant fight all my childhood growing up, trying to get her to understand or trying to create a common space, because I think with parents, as much as I looked around, so because my parents used to be really strict, I would really notice a lot of my friends with their parents, how they behave, or I would really kind of study about it and understand what the psychology is a lot
Yeah.
for me to just develop a mid ground between me and my parents. So, looking at a lot of my other people's, my friends' parents, I would feel really jealous growing up. I would have this notion that North Indian parents might be a little more cooler. I wish I was, I wish I could marry this North Indian guy so that I could be a cool parent if I grew up,
Yeah.
So it, and by strict, I mean like really strict, I would get
Very
to
strict.
eat, I would get to eat McDonald's once in 2 months. If for the rest 59 days or something, I eat at home. Yeah. So that's just like one thing. And that would make me always feel out of place growing up. I've also shifted like a lot of schools because my parents are from Andhra. So Bangalore for them doesn't study. They think that everything Bangalore does is extra co-curricular activities. So they were so upset with every school I was in. So I shifted like 11 schools till my 10th grade. And
wait, this was back and forth between Andhra Pradesh and Bangalore, right?
No, this was only Bangalore actually.
Oh, this was in Bangalore. Okay, got it.
Yeah, only in Bangalore. So,
Got it.
I would like every new school, I would feel a little, being new is always,
also,
very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, now that you said that you've changed a lot of schools, I feel that impacts a lot because, like, as a child, of course, it's easy to make friends, but then let stability. If it's not there, then you sort of it's tough in a way.
Absolutely. So it kind of like affects me a lot even today. I'm still dealing with kind of finding stability because even I travel a lot myself since college. And sometimes when I come back, like at college, it used to be college and vacation, going to a new place. So I wouldn't ever go home. Yeah. So coming back to one place means so much to me right now because I work and I have a space of my own and it's a very safe space for me. But I really miss having friends from like first grade or second grade. And, having something long term is really hard for me because I'm just not used to staying at one place for a while. So being new in the school and, just kind of, I would just always feel out of place. That's the word to describe my childhood. And but my dad used to definitely soften it a bit because he was the chill parent and he was the one I would go and tell my feelings to and just kind of express it a bit to a certain extent. But there would be only so much he could do because it's two parents who have extremely two different parenting styles and they themselves are not able to find middle ground. So it was a mess.
Also, like, I think you have a brother, right?
Yeah. I do have a younger brother. So again, my mom, she was always nice to him. I want to believe that it stems from the idea where, generally in my family, even in Andhra, a lot of the guys are given more importance than girls. It's just the very deep-rooted patriarchy, which they don't realize. Even till today, if my brother comes home from college, everyone's just so excited. And like, because maybe I work from home and I stay at home most of the time and I keep going. It's not that fun for them when I'm home, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe some stories from Nirmit also, like you were maybe the experimental child and, parents are figuring out how to do parenting and then, something similar to that.
Yeah.
So,
that's better.
Yeah. So to talk about myself, I'm the younger child. So it's for me, it was like, I'm very glad that I have a sister though, because, she was almost like a third parent, if you can say. So in a way, that was a privilege. And later on, I realized, that was actually, preventing is the right word. I feel I would have grown better if I was, a little outside of her shadows. Okay, so it was like that. But to start the story, I would say that, I come from I would say, middle class family that, my grandfather, he moved from a village in Gujarat to Ahmedabad, which was like a big step at that time. And this I'm talking about is like 1990 something. And dad worked hard, and then we moved from Ahmedabad to Bangalore. Okay, and the reason for moving to Bangalore was literally our education, like my sister and my education. So it was a big step, and I was like coming from Ahmedabad, Bangalore is like a very big change. So I was brought up in a very religious way. Like the culture also is like different, right? Like parents, they have been brought up in Ahmedabad, and now I'm growing up in Bangalore. So I was brought up in a religious way, and like I wouldn't want to compare exactly because, uh, but what I would like to say is that spending habits in a traditional Guju family is like very different from like a city like Bangalore. Like,
Understand?
yeah, like most of my friends, they had Xbox and PS and stuff, and I couldn't
Yeah.
relate to that because
Me too. Yeah, I totally understand this. Yeah.
yeah, so I couldn't relate to that. I'm like, Arey, why are they gaming and stuff, things like that. Okay, but then I like, if let's say my friends got Xbox and PS at like fifth grade or sixth grade, I got it way later, in like somewhere like ninth grade, 10th grade, and that I got a Nintendo Wii. So that I was probably the happiest then. I'm like, oh wow, dad got a game and all. Let's play. Let's have a nice time and stuff. So you know, that spending habits was a thing that I distinctly remember. And another challenge was like if you're in a middle class family, your number one priority is going to be academics. Like literally everything around your life is centered around academics. Like enjoyment and stuff. I used to feel that enjoyment is like a byproduct of academics. Like you work hard, then you get to enjoy. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not something that can coexist, that you can enjoy as well as do good. That was a mind-blowing concept. Okay. Yeah, so I've felt that enjoyment is like a byproduct of academics. So yeah, I've always been good in academics that way. Okay, like since second grade to like even like till 12th grade, I was good in academics because like parents want that goal for you, you want, and that becomes because parents want that goal, that becomes your goal as well.
Your goal, yeah.
Yeah, so that becomes a goal, and then yeah, that's how I ended up in bits. But yeah, I mean, it was this JE cycle that I got into. Okay, that I used to get 98% every time. Okay, and then parents again, being parents, they want to they want to see you succeed, right? So
Yeah.
they were like, oh, you got only 98%. Oh, you lost 2% and stuff. So yeah, that was my dad still says that, but it's in a comedic way. It's not like meant to pressure you or something. But yeah, so because these things are there, like the Fiji talks and stuff, that started for me in like sixth, seventh grade. Okay, that you have to go to Fiji also now. So yeah, I did 4 years of Fiji. I mean, at eighth grade, you don't really know what you want to do, but yeah, I joined Fiji in like ninth, 10th grade, and yeah, it helped me. It didn't help me get IIT, but yeah, it did help me get bits, and yeah, that's my story so far.
I totally relate. Like with respect to the money part. So we also grew up in a middle class family.
Yeah.
But it was not like we were ever struggling. And like now when I sit and talk to my dad, he did tell me there were moments of struggle, but he didn't let us know. But it was always like, whatever, like my friends used to get like $100 or $500 to
Pocket
cool,
money.
okay, for like, yeah, pocket money for canteen. And like, if I ask my parents, even for like 50 rupees, okay,
It
which is
used to be
such
like
a
big
such
thing,
a
yeah.
big deal.
And back then, 10 rupees was such a big thing.
Such a big thing, even 10 bucks. And it's like, my dad would say, just like, ask me what you want. I'll get it for you,
Yeah.
Like, I'll go to the store and get it for you. But it used to be like pani puri or samosa in the canteen or something. Or just to like show your friends that, yeah, even you can get like money with, with just kids. Or the biggest thing for me in my childhood was I thought I would grow up. This was in 6th, 7th grade. I thought I would grow up and buy an iPod, and that would be my biggest thing ever. Because all my friends had like Nano and iPod, and I would love to listen to music. And it was my biggest thing. And my dad used to be like my mom would relate it to marks. But my dad, so my parents are into spirituality too. In fact, my mom right now runs an ashram in Andhra.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, my dad used to be like, if you can, mug up Lalita Sahasranamam, which is, a sort of a recital. If you can mug that up, I'll give you an iPod. And I read that it's very hard.
Yeah,
And
it's like a goal that if you get this,
Yeah.
you'll get that.
that,
So many of those are I've got,
and even for studies totally relate, man. Like I think every Indian sort of kid does, because like I was really really into sports, basketball to be specific. I would play for my school and all of that, and I would lie to my mom saying I had some extra classes and all of that, stay back in school, because school for me used to end at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's what Bangalore schools are. And then this Narayana came to Bangalore, and Narayana was from 7
Andhra.
o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening. And I was like, are you
That's a lot.
I was like, are you kidding me? Is this school? And my parents put me there for 3 years, 8, 9, 10.
Oh,
So
okay,
before Narayana, I would just have few hours of school and I would play for the rest of the hours and stuff. But my mom figured out, and she put me into this Narayana, and I completely lost touch with sports, with reading. I used to read a lot because there were no phones back then, and I would have like a library near my house. So I would just spend hours reading, which was still a problem because I'm reading novels and not like academic books. So yeah, I mean, the whole study thing, I didn't even, I just knew that I'm preparing for something in Narayana called IIT, but I didn't even know what IIT was. I didn't know that it was like an entrance exam for an engineering college. That I discovered in my 11th and 12th.
Yeah.
After I got into this reputed institution in Hyderabad, and the first time I didn't succeed, I felt like my life was gonna end. I thought there was nothing more to it, because IIT was like everything. And then I went to Kota. I dropped in here.
Yeah.
And then I studied in Kota again, but then it was just never my thing. I just liked maths, but that didn't mean that, it didn't mean anything. And I wanted to do so many other things. After I went to Kota, I then realized that, okay, there is a life beyond engineering. The people do other things while talking to other people and all. So yeah, I totally relate to your story.
Yeah. Also, the people who are not aware of this concept called Narayana. Narayana is like a school that your parents send you. If your parents hate you, they send you to Narayana. So that's a concept.
Yeah, for context, Narayana is the strictest one of the I mean, it's the strictest coaching center or whatever.
Yeah.
All. I mean, and that's to say everyone else is really strict anyway.
Yeah.
But Narayana is just god levels.
Yeah.
In Narayana, they put a marks list every week of your JEE mains weekly test on the board, on the notice board, for the whole of the school to see where you stand and how to treat you based on that. Oh God, it's dramatic.
Correct. That I think that used to happen in school also. Like midterm, like if, let's say you have exams or something, then the like top 3 people would get their names on the board and stuff, right? So I remember parents used to be very happy when my name used to come up on board. So I mean, yeah. So when they feel happy and you feel like sort of happy now, wow, you found that good, so I'm gonna work hard for that. So yeah, that was again looking back at that. It's not something that that culture should like stop, I guess.
Yeah, well, education in India, talking about it is a whole different conversation. Let's not even get there.
Yeah, I think was sidestepping, not stopping. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next part, which is when did you sort of realize that your relationship with parents is beginning to change? Nirmit, should I go first? Yeah.
I think I just bring back all the crazy memories. Of course, I think the day that I went off to college. I think for me that but even I think, for example, if Shruti, maybe her year in Kota was something different than living at home, but I obviously stayed till 12th at home. So more or less everything was the same. But I think when I did go off to college, I mean, to a bit, of course, I think that's definitely when, that is definitely when things changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think living away from home. And I realized that not just because of my son, but in comparison to a lot of my friends who stayed back in Bombay and they just stayed at home for college, right? Again, I mean, I'm not talking about whether, of course, there's nothing different or wrong about that. I'm saying, but their relationship with their parents.
The college life was different. Than
Yeah, not just college life, but just coming back home to your parents and having their accountability back home.
yeah,
A whole other difference in college.
yeah,
For all three of us, living in college was probably a lot more freeing,
yeah.
or not just freeing, but
Like discovering
your own decisions. I think at the age of 17, making decisions about your day and what you want to do next day, I think that matters a lot. And especially to Indian kids, because most Indian kids don't have their own agency until, I don't know, they're earning and they're 23 or 24 or married or something. Most cases when they're married and something like that.
Yeah.
In comparison to people around the world who move out at 16, right? So their relationship with their parents is different. I mean, they're independent from such a young age.
Yeah.
So I think I consider myself lucky that I got to move out at a younger age than most Indian kids, I guess. Because so I mean, not just independence and just, freedom to make decisions, but my parents saw me as an adult when I moved to college and just had a lot of respect. I mean, of course, they'd also moved around this country for work and since childhood, all of that. But they had a lot of respect, just more respect for me because now I was living on my own in a way. And I think that changed because then they sort of treated me as an adult. And that gives them confidence of, this guy's going to, do okay in life. It doesn't mean that everyone moves out and everyone does things on their own. So I didn't do something unique or very mind-blowing. But for them, it was even for them, it was a transition into, I think he is now able to, leave the nest and do things on his own. And so then they worried less about me, or my mom was less anxious about what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then the first few months was really bad, I guess, because
I remember you used to go home every month, right?
no, that was not my parents' fault. That was because I was homesick.
That's because you were homesick.
Yes, see them as much as possible because I thought that was the end of the world. That I'm never going to see my parents again. That's how I went home. But I'm saying for them, they worried. So I think that led to just me becoming more. I mean, they gave me more freedom with my decisions. So they trusted me more to handle my own life versus when I was back home. Versus my friends who are, I mean, some friends of mine are still living at home in Bombay or whatever. And again, I'm not commenting on how that goes for everyone, but their relationship with their parents is still they're very dependent on their parents, even to this date, which is fair because I'm sure that
they haven't got that exposure yet, right? Everyone will get it eventually.
Yeah. So again, that timeline is totally different. For us, it's 17. For some people around the world, it's 15 or I don't know, 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
So again, but I just think it's lucky that we got to do it when we did, instead of, maybe not knowing what that's like. I think that was really important for my relationship with my parents, I guess.
And I remember you told me that now in the COVID time when you went back home, it was sort of different. You felt different, not like at the age of 17 when you were desperate to go back home versus at 22.
Yeah, it was completely different because I had imagined, like I said, I just wanted to go, live that life again because that was my comfort zone. I had never been outside my comfort zone. But then when I went back in COVID, after a few months, again, there was nothing bad. There was nothing annoying or wrong about it. But I felt like just leaving again and going out again because that had become the new norm.
The norm.
And even for my parents, I think they also hadn't lived with me for 3 odd years. So just my habits and the way that I changed, the way that I live. I mean, in college, I lived like an animal, right? All of maybe I don't know what you get. But I lived like an animal. So going back home and just, I don't know.
You can't live like an animal.
Disciplined sort of life at home. That was a bit new for me and them also. So maybe in lockdown, that's what changed because I suddenly realized that, this is exactly what I'd wished for like 3 years ago when I came to college. But now all I want to do is go out and live on my own again, which was really weird because that it is something completely unexpected, I would say.
Yeah, fair enough. Shruti?
Yeah, so I kind of relate to the COVID part a lot. But anyway, I kind of figured out. Can you come again? What's the question exactly?
not exactly a question, but yeah, tell us your story on when did your when did you realize that your relationship with parents is changing?
Oh, okay, yeah. So I kind of figured this out way younger, like in 6th, 7th standard. When I would go out to school and see my friends and see how close they are to their parents, that's when I kind of understood that, okay, this is something with what I have with my mom specifically is not something that's right or healthy in a way. And I kind of, we've had arguments about it in and out. I kind of saved it up for me for a lot of years. And then probably in 10th grade or something, there were a few outbursts. And that's when in 10th, I've realized that the only way for me to fix myself first and then my relationship with my family was to go out. So I've gone to Hyderabad for my studies in 11th and 12th. But I couldn't stay there for longer because it was too young. I was just out of 10th grade and I've gone to Hyderabad and I had to do so many things by myself because I was staying in hostel and everything. I got really scared. So then I thought, okay, maybe I'm missing my parents. I was wrong all this while because, I thought going out will fix things for me, but I've come out and it didn't. Like
You realize, oh, what a mess is this?
Yeah, because I used to really miss my dad and I assumed that I miss my whole family. Like I thought something is really wrong with me and I made a mistake. And my parents, my mom has shifted to Hyderabad again for me because I used to cry a lot and I would really miss home. And then after she shifted to Hyderabad was when I kind of understood that, okay, this is a blunder. I should really start living on my own. It's okay. It'll take me a bit because I'm really young. But then after that, I've pretty much been on myself, like Kota, I was all alone. I would do so many things all by myself and I would feel like a total grown up. And then I would go to college. Once I went to college, everything for all those 4 years, all the vacations I was outside. So the interaction between me and my family would be like maybe 3-4 days a year. So it was very limited and the right amount. 3 days is where we can bear each other. After 3 days, it gets messy. So after college, like in college, everything was right. Everything was going my way. But definitely, I always lived it up in life. There was a life which my parents didn't know about. It could be the way I dress, which they would definitely have problems with, or XYZ. So many things that my parents, like my mom, is so against me. She was always against me talking to guys. Okay, all my school, she would just tell me that men are really, really bad people, and I shouldn't ever have guy friends and all of that. So as I said, all these
She's
thoughts
not entirely wrong.
So all these,
That's all I'm saying.
yeah, maybe. But yeah, so she would say all of this, okay? And if in college, she would come over to college once in a while, like probably once in 2 years. And if she sees any guy waving at me or saying hi, she would get like really, really angry and all of that. And right now, I'm 24. She's like, I think it's time you start talking to guys, and
God.
go out and meet
Huh.
people. The hypocrisy.
Yeah.
She's like, do you want to meet this guy this weekend and just catch up for coffee and see how you like him and stuff like that? So the dynamics have really changed.
Change, yeah, drastically. Wait,
yeah,
wait, you're the girl on this podcast. One thing exclusively to you. Like, what is it like to be I mean, I'm sure you had your challenges. What were the challenges being a girl and like being like an elder sibling? What was that like?
One, I wouldn't be allowed to any birthday parties post 6 p.m. 6 p.m. was the cutoff because I was a girl. And even if it's somebody next lane or next whatever, I would just not be allowed to go. Two, I would, as a girl, and I don't know, maybe it would be very stupid for you guys to listen to this, but I wouldn't be allowed to get my hair cut. Yeah. Everybody would get like this layer cut and, the
Wasn't like you
fringes.
mean streaks and stuff?
Yeah, not streaks, just a haircut, like
Okay,
which
just
would look
like
fancy.
okay.
Yeah. No, streaks is very dur ki baat. Like in my 6th to 10th grade, which is the biggest phase of my life that I remember, nobody had streaks. They just had the haircut and all. So my mom would like oil my hair, braid it into 2 braids and tie them tightly.
Okay.
And 6 days of the week I would have oil in my hair. And one day, Sunday, where I'm at home, I would have, I would be allowed to open my hair and like dry it and all of that. But Monday, before I go to school, it has to be oil. And I wouldn't wear anything except long full sleeve kurtis all my childhood. Okay. It was
Okay.
so bad. So these are the things that add to me as a girl, because all of this is something that would, like, you as a kid, you always want to show off and you always want to be
Yeah, there's
with
this
your
pressure of
peers.
being cool, right? As a
Cool,
kid.
yeah, and fitting in. So,
Ah.
a lot of my friends would, definitely they were also kids. I wouldn't blame them for anything, but they would also like judge me and not want to be friends with me because I was not that cool enough for them. And yeah, it was this whole part. Like, I always felt that if I were a guy, at least these 3-4 things would have not been there in my life. It would have been a tad bit easier. Because even till today, if I travel, I still travel, and my parents I've been vocal about it. I've been honest about it recently after I started working, saying I'm going to XYZ place, and they still have a problem with it. But my brother, he doesn't go anywhere, and they're just like, why you not going out? Why you not traveling? Why you not going exploring the world? Yeah, so there's a very clear shift in dynamics.
Got it.
But coming back to what we were talking about, the biggest turning point in my life was lockdown, because all my life the whatever I fought for was to stay out of home, because that can help me have a decent relationship with my parents. And it's sort of superficial, we're just talking on the phone. They don't know much about my life, and it's good that way for both of us. But then when I had to go back, and it was really bad, it was 4-1, which is our placements.
Yeah, placement,
Season.
placement.
Yeah,
Fourth year basically.
yeah, 4th year, which is very scary, because till 3rd year we are in a very comfort zone and we don't know what's hitting us in 4th year. And I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I wanted to do, because I was just extremely clueless, and it was lockdown. But yeah, I could easily say it was my lowest. And but it was the best also, because I could come out of it and I could do amazing. I mean, I could find what I wanted to really do outside finance and outside coding, which are the only 2 streams that were there when we were in 4th year. Right now
Yeah.
it's opened up a bit. And people see non-tech as a serious career choice, but back then it was something that I could break through and understand, see it for myself. And that's the first time in all my 4 years of college, COVID, that I took my career seriously, and I really built up for it, and I studied, and I really took care of it. That's because there was so much going on, and it was the only way for me to deviate and divert my mind from everything. But yeah, after that, like even till today, me and my dad have serious conversations about parenting, about childhood trauma. And I do keep, I mean, he does know that I've seeked out and taken therapy, and, kind of, and, distance myself from everything, and I'm able to see it that way. He does know that, and he does meet me midway, so that we can sit down and like both adults have conversations of what went wrong and where could have something been right, with not only respect to us, but with respect to people around us. And yeah,
So
so
yeah, good job that you're seeking therapy, because and plus not a lot of people are comfortable sharing that. So good job on that.
okay. Yeah, I for me, I'm very uncomfortable with people who don't seek out help, because I think all of us in some way do need help. I don't know, like I have these conversations. So when I travel, I do meet like complete strangers. So it's very comfortable for me to have these conversations with strangers, because they don't know me, and they're not gonna know me after that 3-4 days trip. So I see so many people even today being so uncomfortable about seeking help, and it scares me. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very well said, especially on the part of like being a girl and handling, because like my sister, and my sister had way, I'm pretty sure she had way more issues than me growing up.
Yeah.
Again, first child, right? Like parents were figuring out like what values they want to pass on and stuff, so things like that. But yeah, to talk about when I realized my relationship was changing was again stems out from when I moved out at 17 and came to Hyderabad. Being the younger child, it had its privileges and it had its challenges. Like there were two big challenges. Like one was when my sister went from 10th grade to 11th grade. So that time, basically, I was alone in school. Okay, so that was a time. That was the time I realized, okay, I could do whatever I want. Like, there's no, I've like when sister was there around in school, I sort of realized I have to be less chaotic. Okay, and when she left, I realized, okay, now I can be very chaotic and stuff. I can play pranks with my friends, which she won't see and stuff. Like my sister used to come and watch me, okay, in lunch breaks and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. Just to make sure I'm okay. Like she was very protective of me and stuff. Yeah. So, when she left 10th, when she graduated from 10th grade and went to pre-university, that's the 3 years I had in Cambridge where I did my schooling. That was the time I sort of I enjoyed more that okay, chalo, now I can play pranks with my friends and nobody's gonna watch me and stuff. So that was one incident. Okay, and basically when like in terms of parents also, right? Like you have, instead of having both your kids going to the same school, one's taking a BMTC bus and going to pre-university, and the other is like my grandpa used to drop me in school bus and stuff. Like that's a different thing for them also, right? Like it's, instead of having one focus, you're having two main focuses, right? So that was different in a way, and basically that's when it separated. Like that's when, instead of both of us growing up together, that's when we started growing up separately. So that was the starting point. But again, the major point was when I moved out, I realized that because my sister has, because my sister has traveled with family and she knows relatives 3 years more than me, I am, in terms of making a connection, that was a very big challenge when I came to BITS. I realized that, okay, wait, how do you make friends with people and stuff? Because I've never done it before. So, like, when relatives come over, I'm not the guy who approaches them because, again, they know my sister, they don't know me. They don't even know me by my actual name. They know me by my pet name. So, that growing up was like, it sometimes when relatives come over, it feels like it's a totally different world when they're talking to my sister, and when they're talking to me, it's a totally different thing. So that was a challenge. So again, this was a very big challenge in college. I didn't know how to make friends, and again, when your whole life has been focused on academics and getting into mains, when you go to college, you realize, oh wait, now I have to develop my own thought and stuff.
Yeah.
When you start to develop your thoughts, you sort of start to think about these things, and you sort of at least acknowledge that, okay, chalo, this was a challenge and I'm going to overcome it, basically. Yeah. So I started getting my own thoughts in college when I moved out, and yeah, it's just, see, when you're alone, you sort of living by yourself is also a challenge. Okay, it's not, we make it look easy because we're used to it, and we enjoy it also, but again, when you go back home, it's like when you get breakfast in bed and stuff, you enjoy that also, so you're not going to say no to that. So yeah, like both, it's just two very different things, and I enjoy both. And again, living by myself is probably it's better. Of course it's better because you get to focus on your career, you get to do what you want. For example, that when I'm at home, I'll be in my room, but then when the lights are on and stuff, like parents, and I used to live with my grandparents also. They used to come and check that, Arey, why are you still awake? Why are you not asleep and stuff? But when I tell them I'm gaming, okay, I'm playing with my friends, they'll be like, Arey, why are you playing? You should sleep at this time. So that's fine. But now again, when I'm living by myself, I don't have to Like I can sleep whatever time I want. I can play at like, I can wake up at 6 a.m. and then play with my friends and stuff. Yeah, that freedom is there. And yeah, basically the challenge was, when I moved out, I sort of realized that, okay, I have to develop my thoughts, and I can do whatever I want. So that was a very turning point in terms of relationship.
Yeah, but I also feel that, just adding in a bit, I also feel the freedom that comes with staying alone is a little bit dicey, because I've
Dicey.
seen dicey, yeah, because I've seen a lot of my friends misuse it, and they just fall into a trap.
Correct. That's also, again,
Yeah,
like our parents have raised us in a way that, f- we sort of know that, okay, we
There's a
also
line.
have a career. There's a line, you don't
Yeah.
cross that. You enjoy the
Yeah.
freedom, but don't cross any lines and stuff.
Cross any line. Yeah.
So, very fortunate. Again, spending habits is something. I mean, spending habits is something I which was a good thing from them. I gained it, and now I'm doing it better than what most people are managing to do. So,
Exactly. Same. I also feel that. So, just to give you an example, a small story. One of my friend, she comes from a really rich family,
yeah,
XYZ, and she's really pampered and all of that. But
yeah.
she somehow is pampered but restricted at the same time. So the moment she got out of her house, she would burn more than she's earning.
Yeah,
just because of that's
that's a thing that's a
Yeah.
lesson that you need to learn, man.
Yeah. So it was really bad on her, because at one point she was just all in debt. She just had so much of credit, and yeah. So that's I've seen that so many times happen, that the moment people get out of their parents' house,
Yeah.
they just don't know what to do with so much freedom.
Yeah. Also, now I'm very comfortable saying no to people when my expenditure limit is reached. That let's say
Yeah.
let's say
Same.
there are friends who go out every weekend. Then you wouldn't want to go every weekend. You would probably want to go out, once a month or like once every 2 weeks or something like that. Then you just tell them no. Sorry, especially now, like I'm living in the US right now, and looking at the rupee to dollar prices daily, I'm just like, okay, chalo, there's a limit to how much I can spend. Like in India also, I wouldn't mind, going with my expenditure habits here. I wouldn't mind going out in India every weekend and stuff. But yeah,
But
I'm
for
aware
me,
of how much I can spend.
for me also personally, I don't enjoy spending my money on clubbing or partying, because I I do so many other things that gives me much more thrill and much more fun.
Yeah,
So
like
so
I feel experiences, for me at least, experiences are better than like clubbing or something.
yeah,
That
same.
spending on travel, yes, but like I would think twice before, spending on clubs or like parties.
Yeah, exactly same. So what I do is, the time I'm not traveling, I'm just at home. I'm just eating home food, trying out different things at home, reading at home, just finishing my work on time, or finishing up a bundle of work, so that when I travel, it's more free. So my expenditure at home is literally nil, other than the basic house expenses, because
Correct. That I've noticed that, when you're at home, you don't spend, like, your parents are taking care of you. You're not spending money or something. Like, I realize now that, okay, whatever I've earned in the 1 year of work, I didn't spend in that 1 year, because I was at home. So
no,
only like when you go out on weekend with friends, that time you spend. Otherwise, there is literally zero expenditure.
But I'm by home, I mean like my own place. Like my parents are not here. Yeah, my parents stay in Andhra Pradesh, so
Got it.
I stay alone. But anyway, I agree with what you say.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So moving on to what should be the final part of this podcast. What is your relationship with them now, considering the fact that, you're aware of how you grew up, and yeah, just basically, what is your relationship with them now?
I think, again, like I said, it's been almost 5 years since I left home. And then barring lockdown, I was again out for even the first half of last year, whatever. Now in separate continent altogether. But
Yeah.
it's a lot better, I think, because I finally understand especially what it takes to be out there and make a life for yourself, because my parents did that and I never really forget appreciation of that. I just never realized what they had done with their lives. And it's incredibly tough for every nerd, no matter where they came from. I don't know. I think it's universal that if you are making a life for yourself, then it's difficult anyway.
Yeah.
So now I appreciate it a lot more. And yeah, just it's a lot better in the sense that I now no longer blame them for a lot of the things that I had issues with at all. And it's not about me forgiving them or something like that, because I don't believe I'm in a position that they're accountable to me.
Yeah.
In a way, because again, they're first time parents. It's not like they have any accountability to me in the absolute sense. Of course, if they've done something that has really affected me, I would probably bring it up and have a conversation and then see where it goes. But otherwise, I would say I don't blame them for a lot of the things now, because I see that I'm going through similar experimental things in my youth, which I'm sure that there's no right or wrong way. If you're going through life on your own and you figure out something on the spot, and then let's say you have a kid at the time, then you just go with it. I don't think they knew that there was a right or wrong way. Neither will I know when I have a kid. I don't know, one day, if at all, if that's the right way. All I would know, I really don't know.
Okay.
Because sometimes things happen. Well, but no, my point is, there's no way that I will let's say if I have a kid, there's no way that I'll know what I'm doing is right. I have some reference to base that on. The worst case would be that I won't repeat the mistakes that I think my parents made. That's all I could do.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'll just do what I think is best at that particular time. And sure, maybe 10 years later, my kid will come to me and saying, "Kya kar diya tune?"
Yeah.
These are so tough to me.
So again, yeah, so it's fine. I think again, and like I said, I know that they want to or had wanted to improve at the time, because I see them doing a mountain of difference in how they brought me up and how they bring my sister up, right? And I'm really glad that my sister is getting that version of my parents, because I am happy. It's not, I don't have angst against my sister saying, I got the bad deal. The bad end of the stick, but you're getting all the
Wait, one question to
fun,
both of
chill
you.
parents.
One question to both of you. Do you both envy the younger child?
No.
Not envy, of course, but I'm actually happier that again, like I said, of course my sister's a different person, so it's not like my parents would have treated her in the same way. I'm sure Shruti will agree, even barring the fact that there's a patriarchal structure and you always favor the boy more, your sibling will anyway be a different person, so it's not like they can accord the same treatment that they did to you. But I'm actually glad that my relationship, and again, like Shruti said, actually you said that you had a third parent, so for me, and probably even for Shruti, it's like being the third parent. So that also changes a lot, because they did actively share a lot of that responsibility with me, to and they trusted me enough to parent my sister,
guide the
basically. Yeah, and I think they're very happy with how my relationship with my sister has turned out, because I don't know, she's grown up, so she's probably one of my closest, my best friend, probably something like that.
Yeah, that's
of course she wasn't when she was a kid. Yeah,
like being
but now she's old enough for me to like you said, be a third parent versus you being having a third parent.
It correct. Like being a younger child, I can say that like I can share stuff easily with my third parent, or like third parent being sister. It's way easier to like talk to your sister, right, than to your parents about like issues that you face.
And they're much happier, because now throughout my childhood, I have actively butted in whenever I saw something going wrong with them parenting her. And I could so I had the courage, or maybe I had just the agency to voice that out in the house and say that cut us some slack, or trust me, she's doing fine. I don't know, something like that. So I was always more on her side than so not even like mediator, I was generally on just her side. So I could just stop a lot of any sort of mismanagement.
Yeah.
And I think I think they very like gracefully accepted it. I don't think they went in a way where they said that we don't respect her opinion and we really let us do our job. I think they were open enough to accept that I know her better, or I would know that generation of people better. Because like, I mean, I feel I have a generation gap with my parents anyway. And for my sister, it's even younger. She's, I don't know, whatever, Gen Z, I guess. So I feel a generation gap with her on most days. So I can't even imagine what their sort of, their miscommunication is like.
Oh yeah, right. Like they grew up with social media. For us, social media was like a thing.
Yeah.
So I see it as my responsibility to sort of bridge the gap, because I'm the only one that sort of understands both sides. So yeah, I think it's a lot better now. And again, it's not easy because it's where I'm living in a completely different time zone. So I wish I had more time with them. That's all I can say. But otherwise, I think, yeah. But I'm glad that now my sister, like you said, when your sister left the house for her college and you had alone time with your parents, that's very critical, because your sister had 3 years extra with them, right? Like before you came along. I similarly had 5 years of just life with them. And now I think it's their time to be just
Alone.
with a sibling. And that's necessary. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's very necessary, because you had a similar, So it's important for their dynamic to sort of even out and redistribute. And however, just basic whatever, natural selection or something, just settle down
like
with some dynamic.
Like you got extra 5 years, right? So I think like you and your sister needs that 5 years to just, I mean, it's obviously not happening at the same time frame. Like you got the time from 0 to 5, let's say. She's getting that time from, let's say, 13 to 18, something like that.
Yeah, and I think I always make the mistake of thinking that it is just my relationship with my parents, which is, like you said, is the topic of this podcast. But you completely forget that it's exactly the same with her. I mean, your sibling and your parents. And you sometimes forget that they have as strong a bond, or they were as strong, or just as important an equation as you do with your parents. And you completely forget that, because you think, to itna choda. I used to think that a lot. Ye to hai. I don't know. But I disregard that. But I'm saying I would say that it's I forget that a lot. So I'm saying it's for them, their equation is as good as a single child with their parents, So I mean, you would think of your equation with your parents as how important a single child would think of their parents, right? So if you like even just separate the two, you have to give them their space also, which I think is natural now, because let's say for you and I, or even Shruti, you're in a different city, right? So it's not like you're with them every day. So I think I'm very happy to see that playing out, and I wouldn't want to interfere or do anything that sort of upsets that.
Yeah. So Shruti, what would your story be here?
Most of what Nirmit said only. I sort of kind of found a middle ground with my parents right now, where things work out for both of us. I'm still learning though. There's so much more I still have to figure out and deal with, and definitely therapy helps me with that. I don't blame my parents. I used to blame my parents for a lot of things as a kid growing up. I used
Also,
to
like
do that.
when we're younger, we just want to like be a rebel and like not things like that.
Not exactly. So I do understand the space they come from. I do understand how my mom was grown up. I do understand how my dad, was brought up. So, it's really different, and it's always gonna be like that. I do realize that, maybe sometime later when I have kids, which is something I really always wanted, because since I assume that, I've had a very bad childhood. I've always wanted to have kids, and I want to treat them nice and give them everything I couldn't have. But I know that when I'm gonna do that, there's gonna be a huger generation gap with them, because I was in Lakshadweep for December, and I was talking to a teacher who teaches in a Pune.
Okay.
No, who teaches in a Pune IB school. So IB schools are like extra fancy. They do the international syllabus something, and they focus only on extracurricular activities and not studies. That's their curriculum. You have to pick up a music instrument, you have to pick up a sport, and so she teaches us in one of those schools, and the kids there are unimaginable. You and I can't even imagine what the kids are. Like, so
like
they come up.
to talk about an incident of where me interacting with IB people. I remember going to some college fest in Bangalore. It was by this school called TISB, which stands for the International School Bangalore. So basically, yeah, I'm sure you know about the school, right? So basically, when I went to that school, I'm like, oh wait, these people are my age, but how are they so different than me? Like,
Yeah, I know.
they have iPhones and stuff at the age of 17 when I had like a Moto G2, which is like 10 times the price and stuff. I'm like, wait, this is a totally different concept. And then, like, I realized, okay, there'll always be some people who are brought up in a way different manner that you can't even relate to.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the next generation is basically going towards that.
It's just not about having phones now. It's much more than that, you know. No, but you know, these kids are like, you know, they at 14 they have blue color, red color hair, pink color hair. And you know, I can't imagine my kids coming up to me and saying all of this. You know, and it's easily gonna be like, you know, 10 years down the line,
challenge.
People, you know, they'll come up to you and say things you will never imagine. They'll say, can I go live in with my boyfriend at 12? And you know, if you're a cool parent, you're expected to say, okay, I guess. So yeah, it's always going to be hard. Parenting is really complicated. It's something I've understood, but you know, thanks to the awareness, thanks to a lot of people being vocal about it, and thanks to a lot of social media, the little good parts of social media where you know there are so many concepts going around. There's so many people who talk about it.
I didn't think I would ever say this, but I think social media is getting better.
Yeah, in a way.
I mean, again, depends on what you see. Like, if you have friends who are posting stories of clubs and stuff, then you're probably not following the right people.
Exactly. So I like follow 2,000-3,000 people, and everything I follow feeds me in a way. If I open my social media, I learn about how to figure out my finances. I learn about how to maintain my house better. I learn how to be a better parent. Like, I follow so many parenting pages, and they're really nice. They give such nice and insightful information, because it's not gonna help me only understand how to be a better parent. It's gonna help me understand what went wrong and how can I fix it for myself. You know, and yeah, so it's very tricky. I understand that a lot, but definitely growing up has been really hard. But what always puts me in my place is to figure out, to imagine for myself what my privilege is. I know I come from a very privileged place compared to the rest of India, and it always puts me back into my place and makes me understand that, you know, listen, there are bigger problems that people face. So my problems are not that important. So that gives me a lot of perspective. And yeah, it's always a journey that you will have with your parents. It gets better sometimes. It runs on a very thin line. Recently, 3-4 months ago, me and my family took the first vacation ever after 2 years.
How did that go? You told me about it. I didn't really follow up on that.
It went amazing. We were in Meghalaya, and you know, there were definitely tiny, you know, fights that kept coming up. But you know, the last vacations were worse. You know, it's always everybody's just screaming at each other. But this was like the first time even my mom could get out of her space and enjoy the views, enjoy you know, the nature, and it was really good for all of us.
Yeah, I remember you told me before the trip that, oh my God, 3-4 days with my parents, that's going to be so tough. What was it like after that?
Was dreading it. I was seriously dreading it, because I have to be really mature. I have to be cool, and I have to help my parents find a middle ground with each other. So it was something I was really dreading, but I'm so glad I pushed for it. And a lot of dynamics changed. So, you know, even financial independence, I think every person needs financial independence. Okay, I'm all up. I'm never gonna be okay with somebody saying, I just want to live off my wife's money, or I want to live off my husband's money. That's, for me, in all ways.
One second. Because you said this thing, you reminded me of this person that I follow on Instagram. Nirmit also follows that person. There's this person called Puneet Superstar and Deepak Kalal.
Okay.
You should follow his content. He like gives a totally.
Don't say this, yeah. I really want to live off my wife's money.
No.
See, that is the perspective.
I know a lot of people do. But I'm just like very against it. I don't know. I mean, I think financial independence gives you a lot of freedom. So that helps me a lot with my parents too, also, because now I can afford things for them. I can afford a vacation for them and all. They kind of listen to me and, like, give me more respect in terms of letting me make decisions. Like, I can see this shift as a kid. If I would involve in a decision making process as small as picking the menu or picking out what food to eat at a restaurant, they would just be like, "No, you don't know this." They would say, "You don't know this. No, don't." And now I get to plan trips. I get to take care of where they stay. I get to do everything for them. So
Yeah.
a lot of things change as you grow up, and they start believing you for who you are. So yeah, that's there. But I think parenting is very tricky business, and I would always believe that everybody should go for like a course, a 6 months course before they decide to become a parent. They should take a 6 months course and like figure out how to do it right. I think that should be the
Watch
next.
these really, or watch these really cool rom-coms where there's, I mean, I think I have the single dad fantasy in some way. I'm saying there is
Yeah.
really cute movies which show the best of, again, it's just
Wait,
two
which single dad fantasy series are or like
Nicholas in Seattle.
Okay, huh?
Again,
So
those
I
romance and that little kid.
Okay.
yeah. I would binge on this show called Gilmore Girls. It's about a mother. And
Yeah, he also watches that. Yeah,
yeah, I love it. It's like goals for me.
yeah. Got it. Yeah, that was amazing. Uh, to give a different perspective than both of you in terms of being the younger child. What is my relationship
Yeah.
with them now? I would say that again, you know, it. I would say the relationship has been constant since COVID. COVID was a unique thing, but like I'm very glad that it happened because I'll tell you why. I mean, of course, people died. That was very bad and stuff. But personally, what
Yeah,
happened
right.
was,
Mm.
personally, what had happened was, my sister is always, I mean, she again 3 year head start, right? So she's had time to spend with family, and again, she went to do her masters in 2017, the same year I stepped out. Okay, so for parents, it was a totally different like for them all. Also, it was a big step. Like, okay, we're not gonna have kids around in the house anymore and stuff. Uh, so basically, both of us, like, she had spent 3 years more than me with parents, right? So when COVID happened, I basically it was my time to be alone with my parents, and I would say that since I'm very glad that it happened because I never had time for parents, and basically the struggles or like the challenges which my sister had, being like the attention of the house in a way. I mean, when you're the kid, you're the attention of the house, right? So,
Yeah.
like she got that time, I never had that time. So I finally got that time. So that's when I realized. That's when I think I started being way more appreciative of like their struggle to get me here to wherever I go. It'll be a massive part of me anyways. So that's when I started being way more appreciative of that. And again, sister is better in terms of handling relatives and stuff. I don't think I'm still good at that because again, I feel it's a lot of effort, probably because of the way I grew up, and I can't relate to the generation or like the people of that community and stuff. So again, I've been trying to actively put effort into trying to know the roots of our family. Basically, sister knows that way more than me, and I'm sure being like both of you being the elder sibling, I'm sure you know your family better than, or you know your roots better than your younger one, right? Yeah. So that was something that I realized. Okay, I've not spent enough time that way in terms of family. I need to do that more often. So that was very good. And again, that COVID time was very, again, it happened at a time when I was really low at my, feeling low, that it was like the third, second sem of third year, right? And we were supposed to have grad parties and stuff. And like everybody was getting into, again, this rat race of, getting jobs, getting internships and stuff. So it was getting to me. And again, when the announcement happened that, okay, you can stay home, I was very happy that, okay, finally, I can cool my mind off this rat race and just spend time home and think about stuff. So went home, had a great time, and again figured shit out, what to do. And like again, when your parents are around, you see, the thing is, when you when you're going home during COVID time, you are sort of a person because you have your own thoughts and stuff, right? You've developed your own thoughts and stuff. So when you go home initially, it's a little tough. That your parents say do this thing this way, but then being a person with your own thoughts, you want to do it your way. Even though you know that your parents' method is right, but you still want to do it. And again, my parents, they weren't angry at me for taking decision stuff. They were like, you're gonna fail, right? I'm like, I know I'm gonna fail, but I still want to try it. So we've had these. I've made mistakes during COVID times, which I knew I was gonna fail, but I still did anyways. Basically, to learn that lesson myself. So,
Understand.
Parents have never stopped me from falling. I mean, they will advise me not to fall, but I've fallen, and they've be like, okay, now pick yourself up. So, very glad that I got to learn that. But basically, to sum it up, I'm happy with I'm very happy with the relationship with them. I appreciate them of their struggle, of their upbringing, in terms of the challenges that they had. Like right now, I'm in the US, right? My mom and dad, they had come over to US when I was 6 months old, and I'm just imagining their struggle. That US isn't easy, right? I've realized this 4 months coming here, it isn't easy. Like, you need to work so hard for each and every little thing. So I'm just imagining that at the age when dad was also pretty young at that time, he must be 28, 29. But like at the age of 28, 29, mom also like same age, right? At the age of 28, 29, taking both your kids into a different country, 6 months. I was 6 months old. I didn't have any immunity or anything like that. So like their struggle for our better future and stuff. So it's crazy. So I'm appreciative of these things, and and of course I've had some struggles, right? In terms of the upbringing also. So I'm able to have those honest questions with them as well. And like there are two calls that I have with home. Okay, one is the daily call with my grandparents, in terms of hi, hello, how are you, what did you, with grandparents, like they really want to know what you eat, which is like a cute thing. Okay, that is like a daily call which I have with them. Okay, so that's fun. But then I also have this separate call with dad, in terms of okay, tell us like something had happened last time when I'd broken down, and again I'm just able to have these honest conversations. That means like, okay, what is your struggle? Tell me about it. Where does it come from? So basically, with these conversations, I'm able to address that. Okay, hey, I think Fiji wasn't the problem or anything. It was just it wasn't a problem. It was just tough that I was doing these things that now I can't deal with failure and stuff. So these problems are there in my personality, and he's like, okay, fine, let's talk about it, let's get over it and stuff. So basically, yeah, I'm able to have honest conversations with them, and there's no friction, right? There's no friction or anything now. Yeah, it's just like co-support, and like, we know you want to have a great future. We're there to help you. We're not there to envy you or like make it tough or anything. It's like that now. Yeah, that's my story. And also, like, it feels very good when I wouldn't say good, but like when they ask you for like things like tech advice and stuff, you feel like, oh, now it's our turn to take care of them instead of them taking care of us, right? What about that?
Yeah.
So yeah, that feels great, man. When like sort of see when our parents are also becoming old, right? So there is a point when you start taking care of them. I think like I'm sure for being the elder sibling, you must have got this thought earlier, but I'm starting to get these thoughts now that okay, chalo, I need to take care of them now.
Yeah. I get this feeling when I help my dad invest and figure out his finances. Yeah.
So that's a great feeling.
Yeah. But
Scary feeling also that they're getting one, like they have back issues, they have those stuff. But I mean, you sort of realize, okay, chalo, now it's not about just about being independent. You're sort of what is the right word? They are dependent on you after a point. Not dependent also, but like you need to take care of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, do we have any final thoughts, or shall we wrap up this episode?
I just want to say that I think that parenting is definitely very tricky. But as a kid, if you ever struggle with a parent, I just want to say that it always helps to reach out and understand, because there's a very thin line between strict parenting and abuse, and I kind of know what it feels like to be on that line and figuring out what is what. So I think as much as we love our parents and we want to give them a lot of benefit of doubt, parent abuse is a really hard thing for kids to figure out. So I think I wish people reach out more, talk about it more, and put it out there more, so that parents subconsciously or consciously also know where the line is. My final thoughts. Yeah.
So that's exactly what I want to like add on top of. I think it just since it's sort of India centric, we have only known Indian parents. We
Yeah.
have not known. I mean, of course, you've not known any other sort of parenting, right? But I would say that looking at the cultures again, I'm not comparing cultures as a whole, but we're taught really not. I mean, you're lucky if you get to question the elders in your house, right? Otherwise, since the youngest age, you're just taught ki yehi hai, just follow what your parents are saying, and to an extent, that's great. When you're young, I mean, when without conscious memory, whatever, I'm sure your parents have your best interests at heart, and they'll guide you to your best future. But once you're a bit conscious, and if you have any thoughts that that are conflicting with their values, or even just what they do in daily life or how they treat you, like I said, I would say that you should try to foster a culture of questioning your elders instead of just blindly following everything. And again, this might go into the thin line of abuse versus bad parenting, but you wouldn't, again, like I said, for Shruti, for example, now probably is wise enough if she sees someone else's family, and probably we can say that, oh, this is abuse and this is parenting. But if you don't even try to question it yourself, you will never know. So I think there's no disrespect there. I think a lot of Indian children misunderstand that for disrespect. They don't want to talk. I mean, they don't want to bring up difficult issues because they think that, oh, they've been taught to think that parents are their only absolute truth, and we shouldn't question them.
Exactly.
I think just looking at the world as a whole, don't try to be a wise ass, and don't try to, and like I said, don't go into actual disrespect, but bringing things up and not accepting or not tolerating abusive parenting is a good thing. It's something that Indian culture, I think, goes horribly wrong in, because we just naturally are born to believe that everyone who's older than us is right. And that's not just parenting. It happens it happened with us in college. We just entered college in the first year and just thought,
oh yeah, man,
someone older than us by 1 year is
he's acting like the king of the world and stuff.
Yeah, so, and that's just college, where you can flout around a bit. You are flexible and you can make friends, but scale that to all of India, where parents are just hammering down all their values on children. I think it's good to be rebellious in that sense and question what your parents, again, once you're conscious and once you can think for yourself. Yeah. And that's not bad. I think you don't disrespect your parents and don't do something crazy, but also just don't take everything in just because someone older than you.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings us to the end of the episode. To summarize this episode, I would say that everyone has a struggle in terms of understanding their parents, but as you grow up, you sort of just realize that, okay, they've struggled to get you here, and also you've had your own struggle in terms of understanding. But when you grow up, you sort of realize, okay, chalo, I understand where they come from, and I understand my issues now. It's all good. And after all, we are running in circles, right? So with that, I'll end this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, it was great having you.